This is Tony Dixon, and you know I got soul.
Yeah, for
And I'm really
sure.
excited about it. So,
Yeah, no, we got to start off with this Kehlani record out the window. And I think
mhm,
what's cool about this record is, obviously old heads like us will like this song because it has that
mhm,
structure that we grew up loving, but the youth is really embracing this record. I mean, just talk about creating this record to begin with your guys. Kehlani's
mhm.
obviously in the studio as well. Just talk about how that record came about.
Kay has been, I've known Kay for a long time. And so we worked on stuff in the past, so with Chris Riddick Tynes, kind of had this, they had the idea already kind of started. Another producer by the name of Snow, who's a mentee of mine, super talented guy, Tale Riley, had this idea because they'd already kind of started the process of the album has already been kind of been going. And
Mhm.
so we kind of knew the direction that she wanted to go for this project and what she was looking for.
Yeah,
And then it was kind of up to me to just obviously kind of tie the loose ends together and bring it together and bring it to life and give it that feel that she wanted. That was literally the idea of what they were looking for. Um, and so it was, from that point, it's just tweaking and from lyric to melodies to backgrounds to, the production part of it.
yeah,
Um, and uh, it was it was actually fairly simple for me because that's kind of like my autopilot default setting, if you know what I mean.
yeah,
But um, it's refreshing to get to work with an artist like Kehlani who embraces that, and her shoulders are equipped to handle that kind of weight. Like she's such a brilliant artist and has the ability to, like you said, to merge what she grew up on and what I have been grateful to be able to create, and then what newer audiences want to hear because there's been a gap that hasn't been they haven't heard it.
Mhm.
And so to get to do it with her, and she's the perfect vehicle to do it because she knows how to marry both worlds. And so, Out the Window is just a reflection of that, in my opinion. It's a labor of love with people that I love and people I appreciate and enjoy working with. And I'm just really, really grateful that, it's being received the way it is. It's an amazing feeling and it never gets old.
Yeah.
It's really, really exciting.
I'm wondering because I know Kehlani is such a student of music, of
Hmm.
R&B. When I listened to this song, obviously it took me back to your days with the Underdogs.
Hmm.
Um, the production reminded me of How Could You by Mario. And I know
Hmm.
Mario singing backgrounds in the bridge of this record. Like, did that
Hmm.
song come about in conversation and just
Yes.
decided, okay,
Yes, that was very that was one of the songs that she loved that was very influential in what it is that she, how she wanted this particular song to go. And so that was kind of the goal to give it that same sort of influence. And at the same time give that literally kind of like her version of that, you know what I mean?
yeah,
And it was a beautiful thing. Like I said, it was from format, I already knew kind of how to that format and what we had to do and how to lift the song and what was required to give it that sort of energy. Um, and again, because she's such a student, it wasn't a difficult thing. It was surprisingly easy actually to do and just create again, try, kind of create that type of feel and that type of energy. And really, when people say that, I always try to look at it like, as a producer, the goal is to give it that same sort of energy and feel and not just duplicate yourself, but just give it that sort of feel that makes you get that same sort of nostalgic feel um, and energy that gets people going. And again, because she's a great vocalist, she's also a great songwriter, has a great sense of melody. It's not a complicated thing. It's like she's one of those people that when you work with, it's just like iron sharpening iron. It's not
yeah,
a complicated thing. It's just it's really we just try to pick the best idea for the moment that wins and something that she wants to making sure it's something that she wants to say. Because again, as an artist, she's the one who has to go and sell it to the world. She's the one
yeah,
who has to sing it night for night, night after night, and hopefully for the rest of her life. And so you want to make sure you give her something that she's super proud of, that gives her that same constant feeling. And that's when we cut the record. I remember the night she cut the record. Um, I was hesitant to play it for her because I had just kind of started putting the sketch together, and and reluctantly she was like, I want to hear it anyway. And so
Mhm.
we played it for her and she fell in love and went into the booth immediately
Wow.
and cut the record super quick. And then after cutting the record, I remember that night, all of us hearing her and we listened to the song over and over. And it was one of those melodies that was catchy. We couldn't
Yeah.
get out of our heads and we kept singing it over and over and over again. And we just knew that we had something special immediately. And with her, that's really the sense that I got. The minute her voice got on it and she added her emotion and her gift to it, it was like, oh, we're good. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
that's the only way I can explain it. We just knew we were good. We felt like we had something that was special, and we also kind of felt like we had a good support for what Folded was doing because Folded is such an amazing song, and that has taken on a life of its own. And in order to do something like that and to champion something like that, you got to make sure you have some support. And that was kind of the challenge with that song. And so, fortunately, I'm grateful that I think we lived up to it and actually kind of delivered.
Yeah, and I think it's super cool because I always felt like your superpower as a producer is to bring, and I think I told you this last time when
Mm,
you were involved with the Brandy record Rather Be. I felt like
mhm.
your role has always been just to bring that stability, that structure, so people still know that hey, it's still an R&B record, even if you're gonna
Yeah,
go all these different directions, you still tie it up to R&B. So when I listen
yeah.
to Out the Window and to hear the bridge and to hear the vamp,
Hmm.
like this is, I think you have an ear for that. Just talk about like putting that
Hmm.
together, just understanding, hey, this is what people want to hear.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you for noticing. But I think to me, a song is it's a 3 to 4 minute movie or story that you're trying to
Yeah.
tell. And unfortunately, bridges has I think have been left. That's one of the formats or parts of a great song that have been left out for a while. Um, and bridges tend to be the thing that give a lot of resolve and resolution to a
Yes.
a conflict, or it's like the peak of the film. You know what I mean? There's so much that can happen in that moment, and unfortunately, music has kind of left that part out for a long time, where there's no resolve to an issue. There's no it's like I just hate you, period. You know what I mean? Or I just love you, period. Or I just want you, period. But there's no thought process to kind of bring to tie that whole thought together. And I think that's what bridges do is like they give you a
Yeah.
minute to say, okay, well, maybe it's me. Maybe there's something I should reconsider. Or maybe it's not as bad as I thought it was, or whatever the story is. I think a bridge takes that moment to take your mind and on a journey that it where you get to a moment to kind of recollect and reflect and hopefully give you resolve so that the end of the song takes you to back to your original thought is yes, I realize I do love you and I don't
Yeah.
want you to go. And so again, the plea is there at the end and she sings her heart out. And it's like, I want to make sure that we don't throw what we have away. And so that's what a bridge does. And so to me, what I try to do on the creative side is try to figure out a way to emote that with the music, and producers and songwriters that know that that's one of the things you try to do is once you figure out like what we're actually trying to say, let's just come up with a creative way to do it so that it takes your whether it be a chord change or whether it be a modulation or whether it be an interesting passing chord or some
Yes.
instrumentation or vocally, there should be something interesting about it that takes you on a journey. And I think that's what I tried to do with this record, and I try to continue to do with records that I'm involved with. I'm a big fan of uh, to kind of tie it all together. I'm a big fan of new artists and their music. And to me, I try to stay forever a student. I'm not one of those people who look at like I've mastered anything. I don't think you can master music. I think music has a mind of its own. I think music, the variables change all the time. So, I always say this, the 10,000 hours in music don't really apply because that only matters if you got 10,000 hours and no variables changing.
All right. Yeah.
Music is always changing. So if you
That's
think
right.
you mastered this particular sound, now everybody wants to hear something else. And you better, if you're in this business, you better learn how to figure out and adapt and move with it. And
Right.
so In this case, it was like her passion and her desire was to make sure that we brought that feeling back.
Yeah.
The way she said it was, I want to put together the album that I grew up on
Yes.
and that raised me. And I was like, I think that's a beautiful thing. And I've heard, unfortunately, I've heard that before, but she's just brave enough to do it and do it
Yes.
in a great way. And so I'm grateful that she's doing it. I'm grateful that she's championing it and she's executing it flawlessly to me.
Yes.
And I'm just excited to see where with this particular song and this particular project where it goes so that it can hopefully give other artists and producers and writers the confidence to say, yes, musicality still matters. Yes, R&B still
Hmm.
matters. Yes, emotion still matters in music. And nobody, and it not be a thing where we just negate the process of creating great music again. I think there's a difference between good music, great music, and copyrights.
Yes.
To me, I think she's in that process now in her getting maturity, her mature
Yeah.
level of creating copyrights for herself. And to me, copyrights are those songs that again you sing the rest of your life. These are the things when
Yes.
she's older that everybody and her fans are still going to want her hear her sing. It's not going to be a thing where um she's fading with the times. She's writing great songs, and we're creating great songs that are going to be able to last and be attached to her for the rest of her career. And I'm super excited
Yeah.
about that. So
Yeah, no, I think what was really cool you mentioned is like Folded, one of the best songs of the year. I love that
no
song. I think
question.
the only knock I've ever had on that song was the lack of a bridge. And I know there's a lot of politics that come into play with the
Mm,
labels as well because they want to shorten the records. When at this point when you're creating music, aside from the creative standpoint, obviously you have to deal with the politics involved as well. Has that kind of affected the way that you create? Like in your mind, are you hesitant to create bridges? Like you mentioned, younger songwriters and producers do
mhm.
have that fear now that maybe that's not what people are looking for. Has that ever impacted the way you created?
Not from a label perspective. It usually
Okay.
comes from an artist. And what
Okay.
I mean by that, if the artist isn't brave enough or have a clear understanding of who they are and what they want to
Yeah.
do, then you run into the hesitation of that because they're trying to please everybody. When you find someone like a Kehlani who is very comfortable in her skin, who knows what she
Yeah.
wants and knows how to execute it, it's not a complicated thing at all. She'll tell you, give me a bridge. Like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The song is not done yet. It's almost there, but I need this bridge or I need that or whatever it is that she feels that the song needs. Where it's exciting to me because there's no pressure to appease a label in this situation per se, as much as it is to appease her to make
Yes.
sure because she sells it. The minute she loves it, she's gonna sell it, and it makes it a lot easier. But she also has put in the sweat equity and the time to know who she is, and I think that's where the benefit comes. Unfortunately, some artists are not in that place in their careers yet where they're comfortable enough
Right.
to know who they are and what it is they should and shouldn't be doing.
Right.
That's where the pressure comes in because then you're kind of helping define them. And if you're trying to help them, then you run into situations where it's like, that's not, like you said, there's no bridge or the song is good enough in their opinion, or it's 2.5, 3 minutes and they're out. But that's just not the case with her. She's very clear on what she wants to do. And because Folded has done so well and it's been proven, she kind of is in that place where most artists want to be, in that
Yeah.
she now has that freedom to create in a way that is clearly defining for her.
Hmm.
And I think there's a level of support that everybody around her gives her now,
Yeah.
to just let her do and let her fly. So
Yeah.
it's a great thing. It's really, really cool.
Yeah, and Tony, the cool thing about your Instagram, I check out your stories every so often. It's like
Mm,
what's next, and then it's like one session you're with Jam and Lewis, another session you're
yeah.
with Ryan Leslie, and most recently you're with Eric Bellinger and JQ and Dwayne Whitmore.
Yeah.
Like, just talk
Uh-huh.
about these sessions. I know you guys are gearing up for wrapping up all these studio sessions to get ready for Kehlani's next album. You kind of mentioned
Hmm.
to
Hmm.
me that what she wants is, the music that she grew up with. And so just talk
Hmm.
about what those sessions are like right now and like how easy it is for you to just get back into that bag of what you've done all along.
Yeah. It's actually amazing, man, because even though she's bridging the gap, I get to do it as well as a producer because
Yeah.
I was raised on Jimmy and Terry.
Yeah.
Their music is what raised me, and that's the stuff that I tried to emulate and model as I was learning how to produce. And getting to work with them was for me was the most exciting part of this thing because I got to watch and study their process,
Yeah.
and they also were respectful enough to take my input and humble enough
Mhm.
to. It wasn't a thing where I just had to sit back and do nothing. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? We got to be heavily invested in their process, but there was such a mutual respect that we all just wanted to win. That's really how we looked at it. And so it's like I wanted them to do what they've done great up to this point, and I wanted to give them a chance to actually, help again usher in this new revolution I'll say revolution, bringing it back of that sound and that sound of R&B. So
Yeah.
the sessions were amazing doing that with Jam and Lewis. And then even with, again, these are people that are my family. So it's great to be able to
Yeah.
do great with Dwayne and JQ and Eric Bellinger. And these are people I have, 15, 20-year history with. So it's like to get to do this music with them and do it with confidence because everybody's on board to create this music again. And like you said, get back in our bag. It's like
Yeah.
it's really, really cool because this is what a lot of them do by default. It's like their
Yeah.
autopilot. And
Mhm.
so all we're really doing, and again, is kind of sharpening iron with each other and seeing, okay, how can we challenge each other to make sure that it's new and make sure that it's interesting and different and not just the same thing that we've always done. Of course, you want to give it a piece of where we were, but again, you want to try to take it in a newer direction for a newer
Yeah.
audience.
Mhm.
And so it's been nothing but exciting. We laugh all the time. We joke all the time. We all have personal relationships. So it's very much like getting together with your friends and then by the way, we wrote a great song. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's literally how it is. We spend a lot of time laughing and enjoying each other's company. And then side note, we wrote a great record. And then it's like, okay, everybody still gets to flow in their gift and do what they got to do. But we get to write great music. And then it's all centered around trying to create, great music for her.
Yeah.
Um, and even with Ryan Leslie, with him being such a talented dude, like it was so exciting to get to work with him because I'd never gotten to see his process. So you
Yeah.
get to study his process and not, wanting to make sure that I didn't want to step in the way of that, but getting to watch and study his process. And then at the same time, when they ask for my input, I bring it and I got to do what I got to do. And so we got to create something collaborative that worked. And so, and that's kind of how this whole process has gone with this project is like we've kind of brought back some major names, which you'll see soon.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, and connected the dots with okay, do what you do. That's literally been her and Chris's marching orders, especially, is like do what you do and we'll figure out a way to make adjustments to it. Don't feel like you have to be
Right.
intimidated by the adjustments of the times or any of that stuff. Just do what you do and we'll make sure that we adjust it. And that's what we've done is like sit in and make some, where the adjustments need to be made so that it didn't quote unquote sound dated or
Yeah.
sound too much like other records or whatever. We just like, okay, let's reel it in and take it a different direction. And it's I'm so excited for this album. I can't wait for people to get to hear it because it's really, really good quality. And it has nothing to do with the fact that I'm involved, in my opinion.
Right.
It's one of those records I would just listen to.
Yeah. Yeah.
If I had nothing to do with it, it's that exciting to me to listen to see where this project is going and hopefully see where it gives permission for other artists to go especially all of next year. I think next year is going to be a great year for R&B and for artists that
Yeah.
love musicality and love this genre that we grew up on and that we all love.
Yeah. And that was kind of the thing is we've seen bits and pieces of R&B trying to have its moment. And I think we've had those moments, but to see it actually come to fruition, I think it's on the horizon. And it was funny
Yeah.
because probably a couple of weeks ago, I messaged you and I just asked out of the blue, I said, do you think it's still worth your time to be producing music and having placements? Just because music is way different than when you first started. And you
Hmm.
said,
Hmm.
absolutely. And I was trying to think, wow, that's because I have other producer friends in the industry, and
Hmm.
it's a different answer, I'll be honest. And some who we're mutual friends with, like I spoke to
Hmm.
Daryl Simmons a while ago, and he said, "You know what? I'm done." And
Hmm.
not because he was discouraged, but he felt like he had accomplished all he needed to, and he
Right.
could exit without any. without anything. And the same with Tim and Bob. I talked to Bob recently. He said, I'm just
Mhm.
chilling now, spending time with family, and you got to respect that because family comes first.
Mhm.
But for someone like yourself to still have that hunger to learn and to continue to push,
Yeah.
like that's not easy. But like, just talk about your mindset.
Hmm. Yeah. Again, to me, I'm forever a student, man, and I just
Yeah,
love music so much. It's done so much for me, um and my way of giving back is to make sure that I honor it and respect it and not cheat
yeah,
the process, you know what I mean? And I understand everybody has their different path and their road to, where they feel they are. And for me, I feel like I'm just getting started again, you know what I mean?
hmm,
And not that
yeah,
I've been gone away because I have been working, but like
yeah.
it's just it put a battery pack in my back in
Wow.
regards to just like people still do really care about music and
Yeah,
musicality, you know what I mean? And for a minute it can definitely get discouraging because you
yeah,
know when I've been in several sessions where, there's writers that I believe just aren't ready yet and
yeah,
artists that I believe aren't ready yet. And because of social media, so many people assume that they're really looking at their stardom kind of prematurely, in my opinion.
yeah, yeah,
Um, and they're kind of cheating the process. But then you look at people like Leon Thomas, who again, who came up, he came up with me and with Kenny and same with Chris Riddick Tynes and those guys, and like watching them care about the music and not cheating the process. But then when I'm around them and I get to work with them, it's like it does nothing but excite me because
yeah,
they cheer me on for what it is I do. But then at the same time, I respect what they do. So
yeah,
we have this mutual understanding and love for each other that's like we don't understand the magic we could create if we just did it together. And I think this is the formula that I hope other producers look at for creating music. Like, there's nothing wrong with the music that you're creating, but at the same time, there's been this gap between generations when it comes to R&B, especially of the music creators of the last 15 to 20 years and the
yeah,
newer creators. And instead of fighting each other or acting like we can't connect, there's
yeah,
no reason that we shouldn't be working together to say, okay, I
yes,
love what you do, but hear me out as to what it is that I do. And let's see if there's a way we can create a whole new recipe together and just see where it goes because you don't know. And that's what we're kind of doing. And then you get to see like, okay, well, if this is the part of R&B that you loved, this is the part that I
mhm.
loved. Guess what? Now all of us can love it because we got elements of all of it. You see what I'm saying? And nobody feels like they've been ostracized or like they're not a part of the process of the music anymore.
Yes,
I think it's incredible. So to me, like it doesn't make me want to go anywhere. It just makes me want to create more. You know what I mean?
yes,
And just create some more exciting music and see there's nothing like as being a producer or songwriter and watching the world appreciate your gift and appreciate the song that you were able to create and realizing that it started from a small idea in your head or a small idea in a room with a couple of people or whatever, and then to watch it, kind of take off with the world, man. It's like there's nothing like that feeling, and it gets to a point where it gets addictive, and you just want it to happen as much as it can, you know what I mean? So I'm not going anywhere. For me, I'm
no,
just
for
not at that
sure.
place. And maybe I will get there, but I'm not there.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
And then lastly, Tony, I think the other thing just to commend you on, obviously you mentioned Leon Thomas is one that, came up under you. And then when I
Uh-huh.
watch interviews now with folks like Mario, Omarion, Chris Brown,
Hmm.
you worked with them early on, with the
Yeah.
underdogs. And then
Hmm.
Leon obviously with Babyface, like
Hmm.
to look back at their careers now, and they will fully acknowledge that they learned from you, from the underdogs,
Hmm.
from Babyface. Like, what does
Hmm.
that feel like to know that they have now established a very successful career, and they can look back and maybe it was just one thing that they remember about those studio sessions, but that thing they take with them to this day. And like I spoke
Hmm.
to Mario on not too long ago, and he gave you guys so much props. He called you guys like the Sonic Masters just for like everything
Yes, my
that
guy.
you taught them. And then like I listened to some of his newer stuff now, and it has that feel that came from you
Hmm.
guys. Like, what does that feel like?
It's amazing, man. It's so good to watch people who didn't, as I said before, cheat the process of
Yeah.
development and maturity um and musicality. It's so exciting to watch their growth. I don't take any credit for any of their gifts.
Yeah.
or their talent or anything like that. I'm grateful that I've been able to, that, God has allowed me to be a part of their careers and at whatever stage it is, and give whatever wisdom I had or information that I could to make sure that they could continue to navigate and move in this thing to take it to the next level.
Yeah.
And I think that they're doing an amazing job. I actually talked to Leon this morning,
Yeah.
and congratulated him because they just had the Grammy nominations come out this
That's
morning.
right.
I
Yeah.
congratulated him, and we were just talking. He was just telling me, he kept thanking me for all the things that he felt like he learned
Mm.
from me, and in his process and all of that stuff. But it's been because I have these relationships with these artists, like you said, the Omarions and Chris and all those guys. The beauty of it to me is that I look at this business as centered around relationship.
Yeah.
Yes,
Of course.
talent will get you so far, but relationship will keep you.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that I think a lot of producers need to understand about longevity is
Yeah.
it's about relationship. There's going to be a time when what you do isn't hot. There's going to be a time where
Right.
people aren't checking for what it is you do. But if you have great relationships, they will continue to come and feed you as you pour into them. You can't always make it about you. You can't always make it about what you can get out of people. But you go and pouring into people. And what happens is you start looking at the seeds you plant and the fruit starts happening and you start to, you actually start to reap the benefits of planting these seeds with some of these great artists. Leon was an incredible musician and artist and songwriter and singer the day I met him over
Yeah.
15 years ago. So it's not like
Hmm.
that's new, but it's just now
Yeah.
the world's getting to see it and he's getting to show it in a way that is authentic to who he is. I'll say the same thing about Chris Riddick Tynes. He was a ridiculously talented producer and
Yeah.
songwriter and go-getter from the time I met him at 16. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And Chris Brown, when he came to the studio, we all felt like this kid was incredible. We was like, he's amazing. He's about to take music to the next level, and he's shown
Yeah.
improve. And same with Omarion, and Mario and all of them. So to be
Yeah.
around all of them and to see the beginnings of their greatness is great. But the beauty of it is I still have opportunity and relationships with all of them to continue working with them and to build with
Right.
them for as long as their careers happen. So it's not like it had to be you know, a one and done. I've gotten to work with all of them since then. And I
Yeah.
still get to, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And so it's an amazing thing. And that's the thing that has sustained me. And hopefully I help give whatever I can to help sustain them. And we all just help this thing grow together. And the music, I, you know, to me, the music is only as good as the people involved.
Correct. Yeah.
Um, and to be able to do it with great people, it's just the music ends up being a reflection of that because I get to work with some amazing people over and over and over again, and I don't take that for granted at all. So that's why I don't play with when it comes to music. I don't take it for granted. I don't take it
Yeah.
as something that's promised. Um, and I just try to make sure that every time I do it, that I give it everything I got. Because you just never know. But I'm just so grateful that we're at this place right now,
Yeah. No, for sure.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing. And just coming up, obviously, you've talked about some of the sessions that you've been a part of for this
Mm,
Kehlani project. I know you've mentioned to me that, I mean, a lot of people might not know that Harvey and Damon are back together as the underdogs.
hmm
I've seen
hmm
Eric Dawkins and Steve Russell in the studio. I know you guys are going to be working on
hmm
something soon for Kehlani as well, which is very exciting. And I know you've kind of mentioned some other projects outside of Kehlani that you've been involved
hmm
with. Like, just talk about what's coming up.
Yeah, so I've been doing some stuff, getting some stuff prepared for I have some songs on Jane Hancock's project
Yes,
that
that's
I
right.
was able to do with Harold Lilly and the team over at Hardcover, which was great. Um and I'm working on some stuff for Tony Braxton's coming up.
Finally,
She's
yep.
going to do this tour, but we're putting some songs together for that, and not just for the
Wow.
tour, but for her to come out for some stuff next year. She's like my big sister, so
Yeah,
I again another relationship I've had that has just carried over for years.
yeah,
Um, Working with K1, um, Lakon, who's an incredible up and coming
yeah,
R&B singer with a phenomenal voice. Um, and I also do a lot of film and TV work as well.
yeah,
So I'm doing some stuff with that. And then I have a couple of artists that I'm developing
mhm,
that we're putting some stuff together that's going to be really, really amazing over next year. So I'm really excited about what happens over the next, again, this next year. It's going to be exciting. Oh, I have some. Oh, the other thing the one that just came to mind that I know is coming is Tank's album. So I got to work,
Okay.
reconnect with Tank
Wow.
again, and
Wow.
so Tank and I have records that are going to be on his new album. And same with Jay Valentine and all the guys from the R&B Money podcast. And so it's like I get
Yeah.
to work with them again, and it's again the music is brought us all back together, and it's exciting because the music
Wow.
is just
Yeah.
as good as when we worked in the beginning. And it's just, you get to see where everybody's at now and still create great music with them, man. It's like it's just there's nothing like it to me. So I'm super excited about what's coming.
Yeah, I got to hear what you're working on with Tank at some point because you guys
Yeah,
never miss together. So that's gonna be
yeah.
fun
I'm
for
excited
sure.
to see where it goes, though.
No, that's amazing. So Tony, that's all I've got for you. I mean,
No
you're
problem.
busy, obviously. It took us a minute to get together and talk about all this
Yeah.
exciting stuff you have, but
Thank you, bro.
congrats on the single. Anything that you'd like to add?
No, man, I'm just excited for where music is going, man. And I really, really excited for everyone to hear where this project goes. I know that the plan is for it to come out top of next year.
Okay, yeah,
Um, but it's a really, really well put together body of work that it's one of those where it's being so carefully curated and produced and written and all of those things where the goal is to make sure that you take people on an experience again where there's no skips, there's no weak points in the project, and there's no place where you go, okay, that song is just whatever. We want every song to matter, just to matter and be just as important as the last. And hopefully just as good as Folded and Out the Window and so on and so forth. So like it's really, really well put together, and I'm just excited to be a part of it. And I can't wait for this project to come out, man. And then we can do this again.
yeah,
We
no,
can
for
talk
sure.
about
Because
it then.
I'm super excited because this entire interview and even when I see Kehlani post about it, she has not shied away from the fact that this is an R&B album.
Yes,
So
unapologetically.
yes,
And it definitely is, but it's making sure that it's defined in a way that people remember the R&B that again, like the R&B that she grew up on and the R&B that we all grew to love. And hopefully, again, it gives other artists license to feel the freedom to do the same and do their version of that.
yes,
One of the things that was important to me growing up as a producer, or even just before I was a producer, just as a lover of music, was there was such every artist had their own lane, but none of them sounded like the other. And so you
yeah,
were okay to listen to whether it be Guy or SWV or, Blackstreet versus New Edition versus Boyz II Men versus Jodeci, you know what I mean? Everybody had their own lane, but all of it was good. And all of it took you on a journey and gave you an experience for whatever emotion you wanted to feel. And I hope that's what we get to do with this project is Kehlani's going to have her thing, but at the same time, we want other artists to have their license to do their thing and let her project do what it does for her, but at the same time bring this genre back in a place where we all are happy to listen to all of the artists that are coming out. Whether go to Leon or Coco or whoever and be like, oh wow, or Victoria or Lucky or like I just want it to be in a place where the experience of the music is so undeniable again. And the
yeah,
experience of not wanting to skip records and wanting to sit with music because again, we all have these shorter attention spans, but I want to hopefully be a part of helping create music that makes people want to sit down for a minute and go for an experience again and just experience the journey of where the artist was and the music and live with it and let it get in your system and you know, that is what music, I believe, was made to do, and that's what we're supposed to be doing. And I just think, unfortunately, we neglected that for a while, and hopefully, with her, it's time for that to come back.